Mr. Bijelić, please remain on stage. You will turn from an investor to a speaker. Now you will be a moderator. Mr. Bijelić will be the moderator for the last panel of today. He is the president of the board for the Serbian Venture Network, a leading organization connecting investors and fast-growing companies. So, Mr. Bijelić, you will have three honorable speakers in this panel. It's a panel about the Wingate project, a network of successful businesswomen in Central Eastern Europe. So the speakers are, and I will kindly ask them to be on stage, Ms. Agnes PUSKAS, lead project manager of Wingate in Hungary. Lotte Frost, communication manager, Wingate in Norway. Ms. Frost. And Ms. Nicoleta MUNTEANU, vice president of the National Association of Entrepreneurs here in Romania. Welcome. Mr. Bijelić, the floor is yours for the next 40 minutes.
Thank you very much. It's a totally different kind of panel, I have to say, and I really love it because almost 2 years ago we started with this Wingate project where we're working on how to support the women entrepreneurship. In Serbia, we felt the need to support this even a long time ago. The first time we started was 2014 when nobody was saying anything about women entrepreneurship. And I know now it's a buzzword. Everybody's using it. Everybody's talking about it. The question is how many of the people are really working on it. And for me, it was a pleasure to meet Agnes almost 2 years ago, who came to us with a vision and saying, we are forming a project between Norway, Romania, Moldavia, and Hungary, and we would like to invite Serbia to join on supporting women entrepreneurship really on a deep, deep topic and to transformation project that is not just lasting one seminar and then we are all gone. So it's really a pleasure to be here. And Agnes, can you please share with the audience, you had a vision about the Wingate, about women entrepreneurship. You spent almost a decade in diplomacy, traveling across the globe, working with I don't know how many different entities and supporting transformation. What was your vision and what moved you to start working on the Wingate project and to gather all these countries and all these partners in order to transform?
Thank you very much. I think this is the first time that I'm telling my story. I'm talking always about Wingate, which I'm very proud of course. And I think this is the crown of my career on this field. I have been working in international trade first. And then with time and with moving to global markets and so on and so forth, I just moved on enterprise development, and there I found that that women as entrepreneurs just don't have the same skill set when they start their enterprises. So I'm usually asked, but why do you deal with women specifically in entrepreneurship? And well, very simply, I just answer because they are different. They are different in their skill set, which can be developed, and that's all. So I had a dream. I had a dream to work on women entrepreneurs from the very start, and also when they are at the point of scaling up. And then, I'm quite an optimistic person by nature. So I said, well, why don't we make a partnership? I had very nice talks and very good relations with other women non-profit organizations and profit-driven ones as well. So why don't we gather and do something together? And then, of course, I had to find people listening to my thoughts, and then with the SKC Consulting Ltd, which is a project management company, we put together the whole project, starting from the very beginning to listen. And I'm very happy that in the former panel, listening was mentioned, to listen to women entrepreneurs, what they really need, and then to build a complete development program, of course online, because they lack time, and let them meet, and just develop the missing skill set to them. So that was the dream, and then I knew almost all of our partners who were gathering, Kib from Norway, and Christina from Romania, of course the Hungarian WBA. I had a former collaboration with them as well. The only ones I have never worked with was 7, but they were highly recommended by somebody who I really trusted. So then we applied for a fund, because of course you need money always, and I had good relationship with the Norwegian embassy in Budapest, and they said, "Why? You have this nice idea. Why don't you try to apply for a Norwegian fund?" And then we applied, and the fund was given by EE, Norwegian Regional Cooperation Fund, grants, 1,800,000 euros for 3 years. I think it's a nice sum, talking about non-profit project. So that's how we started.
It sounds very nice when you say that's how we started. I know the nights and the days you spent writing the proposals. A lot of organizations applying for the same fund, and it was not easy to get it, right? But what I really liked about you said about listening and about the learning platform is how you approached the way that we propose and give the knowledge to the women entrepreneurs, or let's say entrepreneurs, not just women. So we say about entrepreneurs who are maybe female origin, but at the end of the day, they're entrepreneurs, and I think this is the most important part. And I think the learning is a specific component. So, Nicoleta, you are personally leading a lot of learning initiatives, if I understood properly, right? So, how do you feel about the learning component of the Wingate project, and how do you feel about learning with the Women Initiative? Do we need more? Do we need less? Do we know already everything? We heard a lot about cross-border cooperation and learning. What do you feel about it?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to be part of this project. When Christina, which is the spirit of Wingate in Romania, and all the team of CONAF came to me and told me, this is the project, and I say, yes, yes, yes. Why? Why? Because 22 years ago, when I started as an entrepreneur with a real paper, because I started at 6, but without papers, I realized that it's very important to have a mentor, to learn, it's important education, and on that time, I couldn't have nothing. I didn't know how to open the company. I didn't know how to find the funds. I didn't know how to do things. So I wanted to see someone. On that time, there wasn't platforms or courses or special programs for women entrepreneurs. I remember that I was so curious to find, and no one helped me. So when Wingate project came to me, I say, yes, I will be 100 involved in this project, because the Romanian women entrepreneurs needs role models, needs education, needs to learn. Every day we are learning. In Romania, we are playing many roles, and we have also many hats in the same day. Sometimes we are mother, sometimes we are entrepreneur, sometimes we are manager, sometimes we are employees and employer also. But at the end of the day, we are women, and we do everything what we can do to be the best. So, the learning is a part of our life. Every day we are learning. I discovered with Poject the most beautiful experience in my life. I realized that such a platform inspired the young women, inspired the young people and the other women without digital skills, because I was so impressed when I went in the different parts of the countries, and many women without skills told us that was helped by their daughters with digital skills, and they found special programs and special lessons for them, and they were inspired, and the young daughters started to become entrepreneurs. So this is the most beautiful part of this project. So the learning is very important, and I remember that my grandma told me when I was a young entrepreneur at CIS, she told me, don't forget that the most important investment in your life is the education. So educate yourself and learn every day. Now we are the role models, and we can share the success story, and we can teach and develop different skills for the women. And if we can do networking, because learning is about the networking also. I saw many Romanian entrepreneurs who started to change experience and to scale up their business because they had access to Wingate platform. So for that reason, I am very grateful, and I want to thank you all of you, because I was part of this project.
But tell me one thing. You just mentioned that you visited a lot of parts of Romania, right? And since Wingate is not only about digital access,
Yeah,
the main
course.
core it is. For the audience who doesn't know about it, how many trainings you held? How many cities you visit? Because I know that a lot of times when we were calling Christina and you and everybody else, you were in the car driving from one part of Romania to another. Hopefully you used electric vehicle for reducing of carbon, but yeah.
I will be very serious with you. I really don't know, not because the number is not counting, but every week we were somewhere. In Timișoara, in Brașov, in Cluj, in Constanța, in Tulcea, even in Chișinău we went many times. So I remember that this year was so full for me, and I remember all this beautiful experience when we traveled a lot, and all the story that I found it when we went involved with the old Romanian entrepreneurs. So I don't know how many women I saw this year. I don't know how many kilometers we drove by car or on the airplane. So at the end of the year, I want to count all these things and to see how many young entrepreneurs I knew, how many kilometers I drive. Actually, I didn't drive because I'm a copilot, so Christina is driving. But yeah.
Yes. So hopefully for the next part of the project you will use MUNTEANU, as we saw it, to track.
But in Oslo you
I'm driving scooter. Yes.
You touched me to yeah.
I taught you to drive an electrical scooter. Yes, definitely. So when we're touching already the Scandinavia, and when we're already touching the Oslo and everything in Norway, so Lotte, can you please tell us more about the topic I know that you're passionate about? I remember when we first started talking about women entrepreneurship, the first thing you said, guys, it's okay, we do it, it's important, and especially for the Norwegian, we can learn a lot about women entrepreneurship with the Norwegian and with the strong community business and business angels in Norway. You said sustainability is the key word. So what about the sustainability? How can we preserve sustainability, not just in an ESG way that we saw, which is really important in the green pitch, but how we make women entrepreneurship sustainable, how we make all these efforts go for a long way? What was your take on that?
Thank you, Aleksandar. And I think I was so happy when you the first time said in a meeting, it's all about sustainability, guys, you said. And I was like, okay, that's really good. And you said this earlier also. And that's one of my passions, and I think one of the most important ones. I represent KIP, which is the Female Entrepreneur Partnership and Networking in Norway, which is engaged in the product as what should I say, an expert. We don't feel that way because we are learning a lot as well. And I must start by saying that I'm really impressed with the countries and the work you guys are doing, all of you, all the 4 countries. And I hope we will continue that work. But I think sustainability, it's all the implications regarding sustainability. It regards all of us. It's not just for the female entrepreneurs or the well-established companies, it's for all of us. And climate change, which we heard a lot about today, we heard about the 3 Cs, that was really fun, or not. It's COVID, it's conflict, and it's climate change. I really think that sums up the conditions that the companies has to work on going further on. And it's important that we take that into account in all our decisions. Because sustainability is so much more than just the environment. It's also about the people, and it's also about profit. Like when we are talking about helping those women or others establishing their own business, it's also about creating a successful, profitable business, because that is sustainability. And this project that Agnes, you have initiated, is about social sustainability as well, about including people and giving them the opportunity to learn the same things as other countries are doing. That's why I think, and I'm very grateful that Norway is a part of it, because our condition in our countries, they're really good, the Nordic countries. They have so good conditions for all people, and I hope that we can share some of the learnings that we have from Norway, and we are doing that through the project. So sustainability, I think, Aleksandar, it's much about, it's a common sense. It's about thinking the right things and doing the right things for others. And it's also about saving money, saving resources, saving knowledge, sharing. So I think sustainability, it's much about common sense. And then I think we've talked about it a lot today, and also through the 5 green pitches. And still I think it's also important that we must make it a part of our mindset. We must think about it in all the decisions that we make, and it's really important. But still have the profitability as well as a good concept. And then I think you also, because in Norway we've come really far on this subject, and we've come also very far on the female entrepreneurships. And I think it's also because we work a lot with government. We work a lot to create good laws and good conditions for the female entrepreneurs. We talked about, yesterday we talked about the maternity leave, which in Norway is very open also for the men to share. And the mindset is getting good in Norway. They accept it, the company accept it. So, and education as well, I think it's really important. So sustainability, it's a lot. But I think summing it up, have focused on all the 3 bottom lines: the profit, the people, and the planet.
Thanks a lot now that you mention. Please award them with applause, thank you. Now when you mention, I knew I used to work 4 or 5 years ago in region leading Slovenia, Croatia, and Bosnia for one large American company. And at that time, one of my colleagues asked for a maternity leave, and I was like surprised, and I'm saying, maternity leave? He said, yeah, my wife gave a birth to a boy 2 months ago, so I would like to take a maternity leave. And I'm like, paternity leave? No, he said maternity leave. And it was quite challenging for me to grasp it at that time, but you know, it's really good. And I know that in some Scandinavian countries, you as a father, you're obliged to take 2 or 3 months off the work to be with the child in order to connect better and in order to support this better, right?
That is true, and also the private companies are even doing more, so they support the fathers even more than the government says they have to. So they can take even longer leaves, and you can, as when you're out 2 parents, the mother and the father, they can decide how they want to do it. So they have like an open plan, and I think this has come really far in Norway. I think it's the best country for parents, actually.
Just to tell you, like 4 weeks ago, I was in San Francisco, and I spoke to some of my friends, and although in the US, it's normal to have 4 weeks of maternity leave or up to 6, what I saw that big tech companies, not to name them, they are now offering up to 6 months of maternity leave, and they're offering this to fathers as well. So they do offer like 5 months of paternity leave or maternity leave, however you saw it. So I think it's a good way to progress for sure. But you know, what I would like to discuss more is, when you mentioned the sustainability and you mentioned about, we touched the different countries, So Agnes, what would you say about the cross-border that you mentioned on the previous panel? The whole Wingate project is considered to be a cross-border cooperation project. And it's not just about growing the capacity of investors or startups, it's about the growing capacity of the organization itself. And as Nicoleta says, a lot about learning and about everything that we do. What are your key learnings about the project in the past? And what are your thoughts about cross-border cooperation? And what do we need to do in order to help female entrepreneurs in a sense? Do we need to enable them some kind of additional platform? Do we need to help them grow? And how easy is from women entrepreneurs from Romania to reach investors, let's say in Scandinavia? Or how easy it for them to find a new market?
It's never easy. I'm not talking about doing anything more easily. It's not the case. But I've always believed in cooperation, and of course in cross-border cooperation, because you know, competitiveness is there, but you can compete in case you cooperate with others, because you have already mentioned that we are small markets, for example. That's only one side of the cake. That we in Hungary are very small markets. In Serbia, but if we cooperate, and we have the platform of cooperation, because if you think of a very similar history of what we had, we understand each other. We understand each other's problems and difficulties. And we can make a good use of being together. So I really think it's another vision of mine. And the next step, what I would like to do is to get together all the supporting organizations in the region and organize a roundtable discussion what could be done together if we unite our efforts supporting the entrepreneurs and the local markets.
Thanks a lot. So, Nicoleta, my favorite person to ask questions about learning, right?
Yeah.
So we heard a lot about cross-border cooperation. We heard a lot about the differences between the countries and similarities. What is the thing that you would personally say that you learned in the past 2 years, except being a co-pilot and finding the shortest way to reach a route? What is your personal learning, and what can we learn from Romanian experience in supporting the women entrepreneurship in the past 2 years?
So I learned in that past years that how important is to click on the platform, because you can save money and time. 2 decades ago, it was very difficult to find that kind of information, that kind of cooperation, partnership, and so on, so on. So if you want to scale up the business, go to the Wingate platform. You want to teach, go to the Wingate platform. You want to develop your skills, go to the Wingate platform. You find mentor there. And all the networking session were very, very, very important, because I realized that we have the power to change mentality, to inspire the people to develop their skills, to grow up their businesses, and I think that that is the most important thing that we can do in this moment. What I've learned from the female entrepreneur, it was that they had a lot of needs, and we satisfied with Wingate project their needs. So the main needs was to have access to learning, the quality programs, role models, success story, and I guess that all these needs are all over the world, all over in Europe, with many years of entrepreneurship or without. all of us needs the person who have something interesting to inspire, to move, to do something, to call to action, and to do business.
So what I personally learned is never give Christina any ideas, because tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. she's going to call you and say, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's stop talking about it and let's make it happen. So,
Or she will call you to say, let's go.
yes, or that would be at 8 a.m. I'm already waiting and let's go and do these things, right? But it's a good thing. But Lotte, in this consortium, the role of the Norwegian partners was to help share the knowledge that you already acquired. And as we said, the Scandinavian countries in this are quite advanced. What is your personal learning, and what can we learn, not just from Norway? What did you learn from Romania, from Hungary, from Serbia? Or what do you see that we need all to learn in the future to come?
I think, first of all, it's been mentioned many times today, but networking and sharing experiences, learning, I think that's been a very big part of our network. I didn't know those countries that well, not from a business point of view. And I am so amazed, and I think you guys are so professionals. I have learned a lot, especially from the ladies, sorry, Aleksandar, but I've learned a lot about how we can do things professionally, how we look, how we present ourselves in words and in how we look. I think it's really good. So I think it's about that we continue to learn from each other and still be who we are, because we are ourselves. I think that's also one of the most successful businesses you can be. That's your own business. Be yourself and be honest and be transparent. And I think we've also learned a lot about communication, because there are some cultural differences. So we have learned a lot, I think, all of us. But still, I like that we are a bit different. But I think we've learned so much from each other. And really from communication, I've learned a lot from you guys. And then we always say, look to Norway, because Norway, they have many successful businesses and many successful entrepreneurs. But we also have our challenges, because a lot of female entrepreneurs start businesses, and they are CEOs and CFOs, and they really are a success, but still only 0.1% of all investments are in female businesses. So we still have a long way to go. So I've also learned a lot of things that I would like to introduce to the Norwegian market. But yes, this has been a really nice experience. I have a lot of ideas also for the future, but I'll save them for now.
So we said a lot about networking, right? And we said a lot about interconnecting and as well cross-border cooperation, which we believe it's really important. When you touch the topic on the VCs, we did a research previously for a forum in Belgrade, and it says that less than 12% of the VCs partners is basically run by females. They are more keen on investing in a female-led startup, but it's only 12%. And if you take just a pure number that a regular VC takes a look at 100 startups, choose 10, and he knows that out of those 10, 5 will fail in the first 2 years. So the rest 5 will be the ones who hopefully will return. 2 will return 1 to 2 times, 2 will return up to 10, and that one unicorn should return up to 100, right? So when we bring this number to 12% of female-led VC investors, we come to a very low number of investment. How can we help? What would be, and this is all for all of you, for Nicoleta and for Agnes and for you. And I know you're not a VCs. We had a previous panel about VCs, but you worked with a lot with the female founders and entrepreneurs, not just the ones who already are, but those who want to become. So what would be your advice? How to approach the growing their business, and especially if they are thinking about cross-border cooperation, if they're thinking about going globally, what would be your personal advice? Anybody can take the question.
Okay, first of all, come and visit our Wingate platform. This is the place and time for promoting it. But when planning the project, we also thought and had an idea that maybe if there would be more women among business angels with their sensibility, then it would help the women entrepreneurs to grow and would increase a little bit the number of successful women entrepreneurs as well, and startups, of course. And so what we created on the Wingate platform is not only the development modules for entrepreneurs, but also some good advices how to become a business angel, and what to look at, and so on. So please come and visit. But then I think you have seen, and I'm really not talking about and not blaming anyone for not being sensible enough, but you have seen that that when it became to sustainability and sustainable projects, there are much more female startups on the stage. So so I do believe that women as VCs or investors, business angels, should take their sensibility and look for sustainable startups.
Lotte.
I support that, and I also did the same observation today. And I think sometimes it's for us women especially, we have a kind of a bit of another mindset than men. So please, all ladies, yell out sometimes. Don't be afraid to just say things in big words. But be prepared, of course. I think that's very important. Because the most human company wins. There's a very smart man, Schaffer, who said that, and I believe that. So you have to be yourself when you go on stage or you present your idea, and remember that every meeting, every interconnection with other people are actually could be a potential sale. So I think that you should just don't be afraid to be yourself. And for us as a network, I think we can provide it by sharing our ideas, present our ideas and cases, present the successes, but also the failures. In Norway, and we're not alone, I think we are really not good at that, because then we think we are a failure. If our company fails or our idea doesn't come to life, we think we've failed. And that's not true. So don't be afraid to launch several ideas, because one very smart American once said that if you have never failed, you will never obtain success, because you have to know how to fail. So I also think that's really important. And then we should, as we say it in Norwegian, we try to speak to each other, to speak ourselves up, not down. And women can have a tendency to just talk too much. So please just raise the voice for each other as well, and applaud all the different ideas that you come around in your life. So applaud the women.
Oh, so when I told, well, so I found a lot of female entrepreneurs with a small businesses. Why? Because, as I told you, they play many roles. So the young entrepreneurs prefer to have small businesses because the family is more important for them. I saw in the same time the female entrepreneur without the courage, because they couldn't see the young business angels, female business angels, or investors or something like that. So I think that we can help them if we disseminate the information and we promote the role models, the business angels, the business female angels in many programs, networking session, or in the platform, to have access for the information, first of all. And in the same time, it is not so easy to become a business angel or investor and so on, but this is not so difficult for those female entrepreneurs who wants to become like that. I suggest to have the courage to think out of the box and to try it, even if they will fail. That it's a huge experience that they have, and they are able to share with us, because with that kind of experience, we are all of us, we are inspired, and we can see the courage entrepreneurs.
So from our side, in Serbia, we have a Serbian venture network, of course, but we have a business angels across the country in more clubs than one. And in order to invest, you have to have from 5 to 20,000 euros as a capital to spend on the, let's say, yearly or 2-yearly level in order to be a part of a business angels. And when we started, what we told people is very simple, something similar to what you said. Invest at least 5,000, and I think there are a lot of both males and females people who can afford this to invest as a part of business angel, and consider this as your education. Because at the end of the day, even if this investment fails, right, 5,000 a yearly, you will come to a position that you learn much more than you would learn if you go to Harvard Business School or whatever, where you would pay 80,000 for 1 year of education, right? And if you invest more, as we do, we take like 5 to 20,000 as a ticket per angel, and we invest in more startups per year. We learned a lot. We see how the progress is really making, and we see how the situation is really happening, because it's easy to say hypothetically something, but once you put your money in, you're very interested to return. So how do we inspire, or let's say we have a lovely audience here with both males and females who would like to maybe become business angels, or they would like to support women entrepreneurship. What do they do? Who do they come to? Who do they talk to? How do they reach Lotte? How do they reach Agnes or us? Is it Nicoleta? Is it you? Who do they find, or they go to Wingate? What do we do?
I will send them to Wingate platform to check the Wingate platform. I send it to you. As I told you, it's very important to have a business angels community more vocal. To see them in many events, networking events, to put in the connection with the young entrepreneurs, with the entrepreneurs with experience, because as we know, the entrepreneurship is without age. So we can start at 6, we can start at 16 or 60. It's not important when you start, important is that you started your business. So many networking events, the platform, the Wingate platform, which is a huge opportunity for all Romanian entrepreneurs who wants to find the investors abroad. And of course, the cross-border cooperation, which is the most important thing with this project.
Thanks a lot, and since we filled our time, I have to thank you all for participating in this panel, and leave our lovely host to start finishing part of this conference.
Thank you.
And thank Christina and Marius for organizing the Romanian Venture Forum. It's a really great opportunity to be here. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bijelić, for the moderation of this panel. Also, we would like to thank again Ms. Agnes PUSKAS, Ms. Lotte Frost, and Ms. Nicoleta MUNTEANU. Thank you very much.